Hello world, Cossy here with day one of Cosmas. Now, at this time of the year we all sit down with our family and we watch our favourite festive movies. But we kind of watch the same ones every year, don't we? And they're all loving and heartwarming and, well, they kind of stick to the same genres. What about people who like horror movies? Well, there are some Christmas horror movies. And I'm going to run through the top 5 Christmas horror movies. Number 5, Don't Open Till Christmas. Now this 1984 horror movie is cheesy and it's not the greatest horror movie of all time, but it just has a certain charm to it. The storyline goes that there's a guy in London going around killing people who are dressed as Santa Claus in a variety of different ways. There's a detective who is, on his own, single-handedly trying to catch this murderer. He's getting a lot of very good information from a suspicious journalist called Giles. And I don't want to tell you too much more about the storyline. That's the basic premise. So there's this murderer going around killing people dressed as Santa. It's a fun movie. It's not the best movie in the world, but come on, it's a Christmas horror movie. Number 4, a classic horror comedy from 1996, Jack Frost. Now this is a very funny horror comedy. It's fairly low budget, special effects aren't great, but the character of Jack Frost is a psychopath who is on his way to an execution. There's an accident and he is genetically altered and mutated into a crazed killer snowman. Sounds stupid, is quite stupid, very, very funny. It's a cult classic. I mean, if you haven't seen this, it's no surprise unless you really like movies, but it's worth giving a try. It's 88 minutes of quite funny, gross out horror comedy. Jack Frost. But don't bother with the second one from 2000. Number 3, one of the greatest movies of the 80s, a movie I loved as a child, and that is 1984's Gremlins. Now, Gremlins is a horror comedy. It goes more for black comedy. It's set in a Christmas time setting, and it's not like the very much lighter Gremlins 2, which was much more of a comedy than a horror. It is quite scary in parts, especially for small children. I remember seeing that as a youngster and, thinking it was a mixture of hilarious and quite scary. And it is brilliant. The basic premise, obviously, most of you have seen it, but for those who haven't, is that a child gets this pet called a mogwai. He's told not to get it wet or feed it after midnight, or there'll be terrible consequences. He does, and what happens is all these things called gremlins come out of it, which are like horrible, nasty creatures that come from the mogwai, and they wreak havoc and kill people. Who doesn't love that? Little crazy creatures from this little cute thing that wreaks havoc and kills people at Christmas time. Gremlins, it's brilliant. Number 2, another cult classic, Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984. Now the premise behind this film is that a young boy sees his family murdered by someone dressed as Santa Claus and end up being brought up in a Catholic orphanage. When he hits 18, he actually becomes a spree killer himself. Now it's quite violent, quite bloody for a 1984 movie. If you've seen things like Halloween and those type of slasher flicks, then you know exactly what to expect. It's very well written. It's very well directed. It's as I say, it's a cult movie. Didn't get a lot of press at the time. There's been 3 sequels to it as well, and it has a fantastic twist ending, which the first time I saw it, I really wasn't expecting, and it's quite shocking, but brilliantly done, brilliantly written and filmed. If you've got some time and it's around on television late at night or on Netflix or Love Film or something, give it a watch. Silent Night, Deadly Night. Number 1, the best Christmas horror movie of all time, Black Christmas from 1974. This is a slasher movie set in a holiday season. Where have we heard that before? Oh yeah, Halloween! But this came out 4 years before Halloween. And a lot of people actually think that this is a better movie. I am a fan of both, and Halloween's one of my favourite horror movies. First and second one are untouchable classics. Sorry, Rob Zombie, you should never have remade them. And I've watched them multiple times, but this is just as good as Halloween. It's fantastic. Now, it's inspired by two things. One, real life events that happened in Canada of murders around a Christmas season, and two, the urban legend of the babysitter and the man upstairs. Now, this is a stylish horror thriller that is also a slasher movie. It's beautifully shot and directed, very well acted. Basic premise is that there's a guy in a house full of sorority girls who are trying to celebrate Christmas, and he's picking them off in deadly fashion and different ways throughout the movie. It also has a very strange ending for a horror movie. It's quite haunting in comparison to a lot of slasher films that you will have seen, like Halloween I've mentioned, or Friday the 13th. It really is a very different type of endings. For me, it's the granddaddy of all Christmas horror movies. One of the best horror movies ever made, and people don't know about it. If you can find this, I'd even think it goes as far as buying it if you can get hold of it. Black Christmas is a great horror movie, and a great Christmas horror movie at that. Okay guys, thanks for watching. As always, down there's the like button. You click on that and you let me know that you liked this. Up there is a link to my last Geek movie review, and also a link to my last top 5. Click on them, pop out, watch them at your leisure. In the description box below is a link to my Facebook, Twitter and Tumblr, so you can find me and follow me and find out what's going on this channel and in the world of Greatonecossy. Make sure that you like, favourite and subscribe to me. Leave a comment, video response, or anything else. Until tomorrow, au revoir.